Hello and welcome to Bricks and Bits episode number 14. We're joined here today by our special guest, Kevin Hinkle. Hello, Kevin.
Hello everybody.
Welcome to Lego Users Anonymous, where we talk about our addiction to Lego. We're also joined by our typical crew, Just Too Good.
Hey, what's up?
Brickitect, aka Greg.
Hey guys.
And myself. So we have a presenting sponsor that Greg is going to tell us about first to start our day.
Yeah, definitely the longest sponsor of all time here.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Did Greg cut out?
From themes.
Oh, there you go, Greg. You're back.
We good?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start over again.
Yeah.
Tyler's Lego collecting journey started in the 90s era with sets from themes like Western, Aquazone, Castle, and Pirates, just to name a few. His Lego collecting got a whole lot more fun when they introduced Star Wars, as he had all the sets from the first year. As time went on, he started to fall out of the hobby when he got into cars, which took up all of his time, so he donated all of his Star Wars sets to his neighbor's son that was into the hobby at the time.
That sounds like a huge mistake.
Yeah,
I think
it was a nice thing to do. As I'm reading this, it was a nice thing to do. And this next part's even nicer. He donated the rest of his collection to the local church, which was tub after tub of Rubbermaid bins, and it makes me so sad. But you made somebody's day, I'm sure, off that.
Yeah.
All right, guys, fast forward about 15 years later, and Tyler came across a set that would change everything, bring him out of his dark ages, and awaken the passion all over again, hence the Awakened Builder. What do you think that set is, Ryan?
A Millennium Falcon?
Nope, it was set number 21030, which is the United States Capitol building, which I know what you're thinking. Why did that set reignite the flame when you ended your Lego collecting with Star Wars? Well, when he was about 10 to 12, he wrote Lego with the idea of having them make sets like the White House, Washington Monument, Lincoln Memorial, etc. They wrote him back thanking him for the suggestions.
Kevin,
with the process of having.
Did I?
No. They did. They wrote him back thanking him for the suggestions, but the process of having new sets is very vigorous, and a lot of factors come into play. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the response letter anymore. All those years later, and some of those suggestions became a reality in the line that we know as the architecture theme. His channel focuses on all those years that he missed out on Star Wars, sprinkled in some special sets and themes that interest him as he discovers them or as they come out. So essentially, Tyler invented Lego architecture.
That's the big takeaway. Thank you, Tyler. I like my.
Yeah, well,
ahead,
I made a White House when I was in 5th grade in Lego.
So Justin invented Lego architecture.
Definitely check out Tyler. You can find him linked in the description below. You guys got to subscribe to him. He's got some awesome Star Wars stuff. He has like every Millennium Falcon, so that's my new favorite video right there. So definitely check him out.
Thank you for sitting through me reading that.
No, that was good. That was
all right.
good.
Does he have that bag charm Falcon? You know that like.
Does he?
You know what I'm talking about? It's like a small brick built mini.
I have that.
It's a keychain.
In fact, I have it right here.
That would be good.
In my desk.
Oh, look at this. There it is.
He does not have it from this video I'm looking at. It's not in the thing. He has all the brick built ones though. If that makes like the boxed brick built ones.
I love that thing. I think that thing was well done, and I love the printing on the big dish. But it's glued together, so it is what it is.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some. Whatever. The mini one from 2004 has the nice big dish as well though. That's printed. I don't know if you've seen that one. It's not as small as that one, but it still gets the job done. So, for those of you who don't know Kevin worked for Lego for what, 10 years at least? A decade?
12 years.
12 years. So Kevin.
A dozen.
What did you say? A dozen.
A dozen.
Kevin's been around the block, so to speak. And
I get it, around the block because it's a block.
That's a good one. I made that pun on purpose.
You see?
I see you did that.
Yeah. You usually get on me for my puns. But
that was not on purpose.
Are you starting to rub off on people, Justin?
I hope so. Yeah.
It gets to that point where everyone makes a pun and they think of you.
I know. I'm so special. Yeah.
Anytime I say the word sad, honestly, like Just Too Good comes to mind because you always say sad, like when you.
Sad.
I don't know for.
I did
whatever reason.
That was not my original idea.
That's my word association with your channel.
All right.
It's the word sad. I love it.
Yeah, so Kevin, how did you get started with Lego? You obviously didn't start as the community manager. You had to start somewhere.
Yeah, nope. I didn't jump into the battle straight at the top, as it were. If you want to consider that the top, it really wasn't. But yes, I have spent up until December of last year. I spent 12 years working at the Lego Group. And in those 12 years, I worked in retail, I worked in community management, and I worked in marketing. So I did 3 different areas. And when I first started working for Lego is probably what a lot of AFL's dream is I was a part-time sales associate at the Lego store in Denver, Colorado. So that is how I started my whole career, was a cashier and a stock boy.
So you say, is the Denver store particularly special for any reason?
Well, in the grand scheme of things, not really. I mean, I was in Denver because I was there for college. So that was the reason why I was living in Colorado, because I'm not from Colorado. So I was there, and it was special because it was my, quote-unquote, my local Lego store. So that's special enough. But outside of that, I mean, the only other reason, or the only other defining quality of that store is it was one of only 4 Lego outlet stores.
That's what I was looking for.
That actually no longer exists anymore. That's not a thing. But
crazy.
But yeah, and I have photographs of the old sign where it says Lego Outlet Store on the front of it. And it was a one of 4. There was one store in California, another one in Georgia, and another one in Virginia. And those 4 stores would only carry old Lego products, meaning at least a year old, and they would always be discounted. Everything would be on sale all the time.
That's crazy. I didn't know about that part of it.
Yeah, that was the whole. I mean, that's the concept of a.
I just found a picture of you at the Lego store there.
Wonderful.
It's from your Flickr.
Nice. Yeah, I have a lot of photos on there.
When did they stop doing the outlet stores?
So that concept stopped in, I want to say, 2010, maybe.
Oh, this is a gold mine.
Maybe 2011. So they rebranded the 4 outlet stores to just be regular Lego stores, and there was no longer an outlet store concept. It just faded out of existence.
Wow.
But yeah, I have lots of photos on Flickr, lots and lots of pictures over the years. So feel free to enjoy.
Well, what was the best deal that you found sold at your outlet store?
So, okay, this is one of my favorite stories, and I've told it a couple times, so forgive me if you've already heard this. But one of the coolest things that I think ever happened to us was one of the off-site storage units or warehouses or whatever you want to call it that held the stock for the Orlando store. So I mean, you guys are in Florida, you know.
Yeah.
Disney in Orlando is by far the highest volume Lego store in the entire continent.
Yeah, that store is bonkers.
It's, you know, I've gone a couple times in my life, and both times was at a really weird time, like Tuesday at 10 o'clock at night, and it's wall to wall people. It's insane.
It's never not busy. I hate it.
Yeah.
and it's also, you know, one of 2 Lego stores in the country that's open 365 days a year. Because Disney
it's open on
requires
Christmas?
it. It is open on Christmas Day.
Oh, Justin, I know what we're doing this year.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know this. I'm learning.
Yeah, it's actually part of the Disney contract. So the Anaheim store in California and the store in Orlando have to be open 365 days a year.
Wow.
So that store drives an incredible amount of volume. And so they have to have not only their stock room, but they have usually multiple off-site storage units or warehouses to keep their inventory. So once upon a time, they were, I think, either cleaning one out or maybe the lease had let up and they needed to find a new location, but they wanted to just clear out a whole warehouse of inventory. So they said, well, what do we do with it? Let's ship it to the outlet stores. So they took this entire warehouse full of stuff. No one knew what it was because they'd basically forgotten about it. It had been there so long. And they split it up 4 ways and shipped an allotment to each of the outlet stores. So that included the store I was working at. So I think it was about maybe 4 to 6 pallets worth of stuff. And when we opened it up, I mean, this was old stuff. This was stuff from like 1998, 1999,
Whoa.
2000, 2001.
And this is in what year? I don't know if you mentioned that just so.
No, I didn't. So this was probably in 2006 or 2007.
Okay.
I think that sounds about right. So this stuff showed up, and it was like, it was amazing. I mean, we were all losing our minds just digging through it. and the corporate office didn't even know what it was. They said, you'll get these pallets. Please go through it and check in everything you have because we don't even know what you're getting. So, we sat there and manually wrote item numbers and how many quantities. And so the cool thing is they really wanted to get this inventory out. So they said, whatever it comes up in the system is what it's going to get sold at. So some of this stuff is years and years and years old. So I'd go over to the register and scan it and be like, oh, $3. And it's like a $20 set or whatever. Jeez. And so all that stuff just got marked whatever it was. Now, here's the other kind of cool thing, which, may sound, people may be a little bit jealous, but Lego employees get a discount. That's not a big secret, right? You get a discount. And so we asked, because we had to ask, can we get a discount on the stuff that we just got? Like, is that okay? Is that kosher?
Like, you need the discount for for something that's 85% off already.
But, you have to ask, right?
Yeah, no, it doesn't hurt.
If we want to buy some of this stuff, because there's some cool stuff in here.
Oh yeah.
Can we get a discount? And they said, yep, we don't want it. Just mark it down and get your discount on top of that. And so at the time, the Lego store employee discount was 30% off. That's not what it is today, but that's what it was back then. So I think probably the best deal I ever got was one of the Maersk ships, the big container ships, the old one.
Oh my gosh.
I think I got that for $14, I think.
Holy
I think that was how much I paid for that.
Is it one of those, like, back then they had the hat that was, like, super expensive?
Yeah, that was back also when the blue that used in that set was specific to the Maersk contract. So it was a specific shade of blue produced for that set.
That's crazy.
Wow.
How did you stop yourself from just buying everything?
Well, luckily I was a college kid, so that also.
Oh, I bet you're kicking yourself now though.
Oh yeah, no, there's so many things. I have vivid memories of me struggling to hold like a stack of Cloud Cities to take out to the sales floor. I remember having.
I just paid $530 for that one.
We were marking those down with price guns because no one. I remember a pallet of the Wright brothers plane. I remember looking at the old the USS Constitution set, the old Statue of Liberty. I mean, these were things that we just had, and this was a time at Lego in 2005, 2006 where nobody was buying Lego. So I mean, I'm working in this store, and I would be lucky to see 2 or 3 customers the whole day. Like
that's insane.
Would be me and an empty store. So like this picture, Ryan, that you shared in the chat, that's the entire staff of that store at that time.
Like the 6 people there. I showed it on screen earlier for those of you who are listening.
Yeah, that's everybody. At that time, that was the entire staff of that store.
Wow.
And so it was not uncommon for a regular day, like a weekday, to have one person open, one person close, and you had an overlap of about 3 hours. And so one person had to have a really late lunch, one person had to have really early lunch, and that was the entire workforce for the day.
That's pretty crazy.
Wow.
That sounds like a fun job, just sit there all day.
Well, what's interesting is back in those days, of course, after I would stock the store and I would clean and straighten, because, I definitely tried to keep myself busy.
Yeah.
After that was all said and done, I mean, the store can only get so clean and you can only stock it so much. I didn't know what to do. So back then I would go on the registers, which you could minimize and open up the internet. And I would actually study sites like Brickset, Brothers Brick, Eurobricks. And I learned about the community a lot from those days, like sitting there not having anything to do. So that's when I started getting really kind of more adept at product knowledge, like looking at the Brickset database and going, okay, that's some of the old sets and stuff like that. And then I started learning about the fan community.
It all comes together.
So I thought of something while you were talking there. So I remember I think we've had this conversation before, but so you worked. How long did you work retail for?
6 years.
Okay, so 6 years, and you've said people obviously this just happens everywhere. People steal from the stores.
Yep, that does happen.
And it is known that the Lego store does not have the one thing that would deter people from stealing stuff. That's correct, right?
Yes. There's very minimal security precautions, I guess, taken.
That's a good way.
So, it's interesting because there's I mean it's kind of obvious. You don't need to be super, sleuthy to go, wait a minute, there's no spider tags on anything. There's no RFID tags or whatever the name of it. The stuff. There's no the things at the front door, like the big.
Oh, yeah.
Like you see at Walmart.
I don't even know how those work.
I don't either. But then there's no cameras.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you
the
sit
big
there and you
one.
look, and there's nothing in the ceiling. There's a giant yellow brick in the ceiling, and so Lego really tries to emphasize the whole customer service. And, well, if you're talking to customers, then they don't have a chance to steal anything from you. And it's like, well, okay. I mean, it's fine, I guess.
Hey, you, talk to me.
And, in theory, that's fine, right? Like, if you're totally, like, staffing your sales floor and you're having conversations with people, then, yeah, I get it.
Right.
But it's also just when you kind of take out that I don't know what you want to call it, that spirit, like the innocent Lego group spirit. It's like, well, retail's retail, and you need to, kind of own up to the fact that these are realities of an environment such as this. And that is kind of sometimes the fault of the Lego group, is that they're a little naive, I think, to certain things or certain, like, you guys, like, Just a Good, you especially know, like, when we talk about things that leak in the internet.
Yeah.
The Lego group tends to be a little naive in terms of, well, stop sharing it and then no one will know about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not quite how it works. So,
Yeah.
But it's true. I remember one time, very, very early in my career, like probably still in 2005, when I was still brand new. I didn't know what was going on. And I think I was in the back or something, and it was during a weekend, so there was actually more than one person working. And a group of teenagers came in and distracted the other guy that was working at the sales floor, and one of his other buddies took off with a Star Destroyer, and that was the old $300 Star Destroyer, which at the time, was massive.
Yeah, it would have been like one of the biggest sets available.
Yeah, and we knew that it happened because it was so large that you could only fit one of them on the shelf at a time.
And you would know if you'd sold it.
You would know in a sales environment where you see, a handful of customers in a day, whether you sold it, and all of a sudden there's this big group of kids and they're all gone, and then now this giant box is missing. It's like, well, all right.
Wait, did you catch some or
do some quick math?
No, I mean they did, the typical protocol, call them all security, let them know, say this has happened, we don't know which way they went, we don't know who it was. And as far as I remember, they were never caught because our store was also right next to a mall exit. So we weren't like deep into the mall. It's like there was maybe 2 stores down was an exit. So
they're gone.
It's gone.
Now I know Lego puts, instead of the big box, they just put the empty box for bigger sets like that.
Isn't that like a twofold reason for that?
Yeah, there is. There's actually 2 reasons. The first, obviously, yes, theft is a thing. But the other reason is that they actually get really, really damaged because everybody wants to pick it up and look at it. Everybody. So when you have a giant set like the Falcon, it's almost like a tourist attraction to go this giant Lego set. And so all day long you have mom, dad, grandpa, aunt, little kid, little Timmy, little Johnny, little Sarah. Everybody and their mother is picking that box up. And they go, look at this. And they're picking it up. They're showing it to their friends. And when you actually have all those parts in it, a lot of parts is heavy. And those bags shift from one side to the other side, and the boxes just get destroyed. And so, especially little kids, if it's really heavy, when they're trying to put it down, they just drop it, and it just sits on the ground. So I remember that whole concept of a fake box started when there was the big Eiffel Tower. So the super tall box that was the Eiffel Tower box.
What year was that?
2007?
I don't remember.
2007, I think.
We might be able to have Brickset might be able to help us if someone wants
I actually got to hold a sealed one of those thanks to Classic Plastic Bricks at Brick Fair. He had one. He let me
nice.
I don't know if I even touched it. I just took a good video of it up close. He brought it over to me. I didn't want to pick it up. It was like $1,200. I'm like, I'm not
sure.
not doing that. But it's a really nice looking set.
And it's tall.
Definitely it's a tall one. Yeah, definitely.
And so that was I think, if I can recall correctly, that was one of the last sets that was large scale like that we didn't have fake boxes for. And I mean, we damaged out so many of those because all of the pre-packs, the bags inside, kept sinking to the bottom, and it would just destroy the bottom of that box.
Yeah.
Lift it up, put it down, lift it up, put it down, lift it up. And so, yeah, deterring theft, obviously, but then also box condition on the shelving was why that concept started.
Makes sense. Yeah. All right. Well, where'd you go from retail? What happened next?
So, yeah, I worked, as I mentioned earlier, I worked in retail for 6 years. So almost exactly half of my career was in retail. During those 6 years, I started as a sales associate. Over time, I got promoted to a supervisor. And then over some more time, I got promoted to an assistant manager. And then in 2009, I was promoted to store manager, but I had to move. So I left Colorado and I moved to Arizona. So I was the store manager of the Lego store in Chandler, Arizona for a year. And then I moved again and was manager of the Lego store in Austin, Texas for a year. Mm-hmm. And then I was kind of sick of working retail. So I was burnt. I wasn't really enjoying it anymore because it is rough. It is a toy store. And as the times were getting, better for Lego.
Yeah, busier.
I mean, busier and busier. And I mean, I'm telling you, man, working anything in toys over the holidays is brutal. It is absolutely brutal. Because just like people joke about, the holidays bring out the worst of people. I swear.
Yeah.
Like, I've had, moms yell at me because our store sold out of that thing that their kid wants for Christmas.
Is that your wife, Greg?
No. She might actually listen.
Oh, wait, oh no, we're gonna get in trouble.
Oh no.
Sorry, Miss Protect.
But Kevin, while you rose through the ranks really quickly, what do you attribute that to? What skills or traits did you have in the event that someone is looking to start at the Lego store? Maybe someone that's listening or watching this. What can they do to do what you did, basically?
Sure. Yeah, it's a good question. So with my job there and with any job that I've worked at in my life, I have really just tried to go all in with what I do. I don't half, I don't kind of take it with, a cavalier attitude. I really try to go all in with what tasks I'm given, and I try to excel at what I'm doing. So I was one of those guys that was always to his shift 5 minutes early. I was always offering, if you wanted to stay late, I'll stay late. If there's someone who's looking to cover hours, I would volunteer. And I just tried to go above and beyond is what I tried to do. One of the pieces of advice that I give fans now, of course, we're in a very different environment now than we were back in 2005, but I really recommend if you want to get a job working at a Lego store, is to really, really downplay, if bringing it up at all, your fandom. I would not talk about it at all.
Really?
And
that seems the opposite. You think you'd want...
It does. It does seem the opposite, but I'm telling you now, it usually doesn't help. Usually what happens is it tends to deter the hiring manager if they know that you're, hardcore AFL, because they start to get nervous. And they go, well, hold on, this person is a fan. Are they, and I don't make any claims that it's okay, because I don't think it is at all. But they start to fear, like, okay, is this person going to be, or can we trust this person with confidential information? Are they going to leak this to the community? Are they, do they have members of their club that maybe they're going to help get a discount? I mean, these questions start going through their mind. And I've had many conversations over the years with Lego store managers where I'm trying to get them to stop thinking that way. But it hasn't helped. And it obviously I'm not even there anymore now to keep having those conversations. But it tends to not help. It tends to make people nervous. And so I recommend not mentioning that stuff. And there's been a handful of members of the community that have gone in for interviews and they've asked me for this advice and I've given it to them, and all of them have gotten the jobs there. And so I say, focus on what Lego stores want you to focus on, which is customer service. Can you talk to people? Can you have eye contact with people? Can you speak to children? Can you, speak to what they want? Can you be fast? Can you be efficient? Can you be able to finish up a transaction in a pretty swift amount of time? Are you good at visual merchandising and stocking and putting stuff on the shelf? Stuff that's just retail skills. That's what they want. They want people that are really good at retail and really personable and can speak to children and family. They really are not looking for someone who's an expert at Lego Star Wars knowledge or someone who's made the biggest mock you've ever seen. Like, these are not things they want to hear because it tends to make them nervous. There's been a few times where I've spoken to people in the community and they've gone in for interviews and they've taken mocks with them to the store because they think, oh, this is really going to get me in.
Show my passion.
If I take my spaceship that's 4 feet long, they're going to hire me. And every time it has the exact opposite effect. He goes, wow, this guy is a little weird. I think he thinks that we're hiring for like a in-store master builder, not a retail associate. So I recommend just tempering that, kind of putting that on the DL. I mean, it's awesome that you're a fan because it does help you with your product knowledge skills. It helps you with being able to relate with children and kind of the lore of Lego and the storylines and all that kind of stuff. But I can promise you, a Lego store manager is not going to hire you because you're a fan. They are going to hire you because you're an awesome sales associate. You're quick, you're personable, and you know how to work retail.
I think that makes sense. They're looking for people that are going to do the best job at what they want done.
Yeah, that's some great advice. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's any other magical reason why I rose through the ranks as fast as I did. I just kind of did what I was asked to do. I tried to do it as best as I could. I volunteered a lot for things. I was not afraid to go above and beyond. Even when I was a manager, I thought it was very important to not be, quote unquote, one of those managers that sits in the back and doesn't do anything and kind of just delegates everything out. Like, when I was in charge of the Arizona store, I mean, I went in on Thanksgiving Day so that I could tag all the products ready for Black Friday. I was not going to ask any of my staff to do that. I said that is totally unacceptable to ask on a national holiday my staff to come in here. So I had my Thanksgiving dinner with my family, and I went to the mall, and I was by myself in that store.
Well, you said that's when you were a manager?
That's when I was the store manager, yeah.
So, like, that's a great thing to do, of course, but how would the higher-ups recognize that? Like, or are you just saying that as in a, hey, I did it? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
no,
it's morale.
It helps morale. No, I mean, and that's totally serious. When you're, starting to go up through the ranks, it's no longer just about you. It's about motivating the people that are underneath you and about showing them what you do. I mean, the worst thing that can happen in any type of environment is to start to have this toxicity where it's like, well, the manager doesn't do anything and he doesn't, it's like you start to get these bad environments. And you want to show your staff that you're not above mopping the floor. You're not above, getting on your hands and knees and tagging a product. And so these were things that I think, I definitely didn't call up my boss and say, hey, did you know I came in here on Thanksgiving to tag these sets? Because that's not why I did it. But when the staff came in on Black Friday at midnight to open the store, and they said, oh, we need to sale tag all the sets. I go, I already did that for you. These were things that made a difference. The staff was like, oh, wow, okay. I was like, nope, I just need you guys to man the registers. I've got snacks. I've got drinks. It's done.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Because, like, whenever I hear somebody, like, quit a job, they're always like, oh, my boss sucked. So if you have a good morale as a boss, it's going to make all the workers happy. And then when the workers are happy, the customers are happy. It's just good.
It's a win-win.
It's good doing good things. Yeah, exactly.
It's a win-win. And I wasn't perfect by any means, but I wanted to just make sure the staff knew that I would never ask them to do something I wouldn't do myself, and they wouldn't have to worry about me just slacking off in the back. I would be right there with them, taking care of what we needed to take care of. So, but back to your first question, I was kind of sick of retail. I felt like I had really done everything I could do with retail. I had done every position. I was not interested in being a district manager. That just was not interesting to me, which would be the next step up from a store manager, is to be a district manager.
Just like manage 5 different stores at once, essentially, or what's the deal there?
Yeah, no, it's usually somebody who's in charge of, at a minimum, about 7 stores to about 15 stores. So you would basically just be on the road all the time because you're just traveling to all those stores. And I wasn't interested in it. So I legitimately typed in jobs.lego.com, just like anybody else did, even though I was working at Lego already. I found a position called community coordinator. And the description was very vague and fluffy.
What year is this?
This was 2011.
Okay.
And I applied for it. I had 4 interviews for it, and I got the job, and I got to move to corporate. So I moved again. So anyone who's keeping track, I moved on my own expense for Lego from Colorado to Arizona, from Arizona to Texas, from Texas to Connecticut. All of those were at my own expense. So I did that for the company 3 times.
It's dedication.
It shows, hey, I'm willing to be here for the long haul, and I'm in it.
So you have a son now, but like he's very young. Were you married then, or you were like? Did you have any commitments then that were like that made it really hard to do those sorts of things, or was it kind of like, yeah, I can pick up and go here and there?
Yeah, no, so I have 2 kids.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. So I have.
I knew about the one.
So I have a teenager he's 17 years old.
Oh, okay. So you definitely had him then.
He was around. And then I have a younger son who's about to turn 5 in a couple days.
Yeah.
And I was married. So this did involve convincing the wife to say, hey, are you willing to do this? And she's extremely supportive. She was like, if this is what you want to do, we'll move for you. So all of those moves was the whole family doing that. And it meant a lot to me that she was willing to support my career.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
And so, but yeah, it was definitely not as easy as, I'm a young single guy and let's just move to a new place. It was a big adventure every time.
Interesting.
So yeah, I got the job as a community coordinator after I had a couple interviews and I learned a little bit more about what it was. And I was, told that this is a role that is involved with the Lego fan community. And I still didn't really know what that was. I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but it sounds interesting. It sounds like a new challenge, and it still is in the Lego world, and it's at corporate, which is kind of the mecca. It's like, oh, it's at corporate.
Which is in Connecticut, right? For people that don't know.
Yeah, so for the U.S., it's in Connecticut. Enfield, Connecticut, a bustling metropolis. It is one of the smallest towns ever, let me tell you. So I moved over and started working with fans, and for the next 5 years after that, I worked directly with Lego fans from different lugs all across actually North and South America. So my area of responsibility was everything from the top of Canada down to the tip of Chile. And I worked with all the lugs, which was about 118 lugs. I worked with all the fan events, so Brick World, BrickCon, Brick Fair, Bricks by the Bay, Brick Magic, Brick Fete, Brick everything, Brick Magic, Brick Universe, Brick Fest. I worked with every single one of those event owners. And there was a little bit of time where I worked with the online community as well, before the company kind of transitioned that approach and it switched over to Kim Thompson, which is where it is today. But for a while, I was also working with the Brothers Brick. I was working with Brick Journal Magazine, BZ Power, which is like the Bionicle construction site. Yep. So I did kind of a lot of everything and started traveling. The ironic thing is I wanted to avoid traveling, being a district manager, and ended up being a community guy and traveling probably more than I would have traveled.
Definitely with all the conventions.
Yeah. But, and I did that all the way up until 2016. And my last year at Lego, I moved over to marketing. So I was doing marketing that last year. Still within the same department. So I was kind of focused on a new thing that the company wanted to drive, which was like marketing with and for the community, kind of really specifically targeting Lego fans, adult Lego fans, with different initiatives, different projects, saying like, well, can we work with them to drive sales? Can we generate sales specifically, not just because it happened? And then now I am here.
So that's the short Kevin Hinkle story.
That's the quick version.
And there's many stories within there. I do want to get to the Ninjago one, but Justin or Greg, I don't know which one of you guys want to tell us about BFAB. But right after this, we have to hear the Ninjago story. That is the best stories I've ever heard from a Lego person.
Are you going to do it, or do you want me to do it?
Go ahead.
You had a little extra. All right.
That was...
Well, okay, but hey, if you've listened to our podcast before, you might already know about Brother from Another Brick. And I'll tell you, this guy does videos on every theme. And what I really like about Bafab's channel is that two things. He's always live streaming, which is fun, and he's always doing news, sometimes before me. And if I'm oversleeping, I'll see, oh shoot, there's a news thing. Oh, thank you, Bafab, for telling me there's news. I gotta work on this. I think, I found out about Overwatch from his channel because I was in Walmart. I had a dentist.
Where were you when you found out about Overwatch?
I know, and then I saw a notification from Brother from Another Brick, and it said Lego Overwatch sets coming. I'm like, oh crud, is this real? Is this real? Yeah, I know, we all thought that. But anyways, one of my favorite videos that he did recently was he talked about how he used to steal Lego from Walmart. And no worry, obviously.
Kevin, he might have been to your store. He might have been. Yeah. He might have stolen the cyber store.
It was a very interesting story, and it was really funny. It's a very funny video. So go check that out. You'll learn something. Yeah, that was great. And we'll link to that one below. And also, again, he's a great guy, Bafab. So go subscribe to Brother from Another Brick on YouTube. And definitely check out that video on how he got caught stealing Lego from Walmart.
Also, where Just Too Good gets his Lego news.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. I think
that's my source. It's definitely Brother from Another Brick. Oh yeah.
Thank you, Bafab. Yeah. Definitely check out Bafab, as Just Too Good calls him.
Bafab.
So Kevin Hinkle, aka the savior of Ninjago.
Right. Wow. This one I gotta hear because I actually have not heard this one.
Oh, Justin, you are in for a treat.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
This is new to me too.
Shall I just take it from the top?
Yes. I would say so. It's probably the best place to start.
So this is you can't make this stuff up, guys. You can't make
really
this stuff up. So, as I mentioned earlier, part of my responsibilities was to travel to Lego fan conventions and represent the company at those conventions. So I went to an event called Bricks Cascade, which is in Portland, Oregon. And it's been in operation for many years. It's still in operation today. If you have any interest, it's a good event. And I can't even remember what year this was. 2013, maybe? I could check. I could double check, but I can't tell you exactly. But so I went to this event, and I was doing the regular thing. I'm walking around, I'm talking to fans, I'm answering their questions. Asking them questions, doing the corporate thing. And one of these guys comes up to me, and he was an older guy, probably in his 40s or 50s, and just kind of casually he said, oh, that Ninjago thing's doing really good, huh? And I said, yeah, no, it's definitely taken off a lot more than we anticipated it would. And he goes, man, it's so good that you've got that. I mean, you just run that thing forever. I mean, you'll just make money, He said something, some kind of casual statement.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we're not going to run it forever, I said, the line is going to end. And he was like, oh, you're kidding me. I mean, this was just a very casual conversation. And it was just me and this guy in the middle of a expo hall, 100,000 square foot expo hall. And I said, yeah, well, I mean, it was only planned to have a 3-year run. And for you guys that kind of are a little bit more savvy to the Lego product portfolio, you know that a typical Lego theme runs 3 years. That's what it does.
Wait, this was 2012 or 2013?
I can't tell. I don't remember. It was one of those years.
All right.
But, a typical Lego theme follows what we call a Big Bang. So it has a 3-year lifespan. If it's not that, then it could be an evergreen. An evergreen is a theme that never goes away. It just stays all the time. So that's Star Wars, that's City, that's Creator, and that's Friends. These are evergreen. And then, of course, there's the ones that just are 1 year and they're gone, like Monster Fighters is an example. So, but I told this guy, I said, no, Lego Ninjago it's a Big Bang. It has a 3-year lifespan. And he goes, oh, so that means it's going to end, let me see, next year, I guess. And I said, I guess that sounds about right. I guess that thing. And again, this was a very just innocent kind of casual conversation. So we ended up changing the conversation. We talked about something else, and I moved on. Bricks Cascade had requested a official Lego group Q&A, which is fine. Some of the events would like that for me to do that. They'd say, can you please have an official Q&A? And I said, okay, that's fine. And I do have official media training. I have social media training. I have a lot of things that the Lego Group did for me, knowing that I would be on stage talking on behalf of this global organization.
Yeah, that seems important.
It seems kind of important, right? So the time comes for the official Lego Group Q&A at Bricks Cascade. And I think it was probably later that night, so maybe like a 6 o'clock in the evening kind of thing. So I go up on stage, and I'm ready to do the thing. Like, what questions do you have? And I'll do my best to answer them. And as with every Lego Q&A, there's a couple questions that get asked over and over and over again. Why are Lego sets so expensive? How do I become a Lego designer? Bring back monorail. Why did you get rid of 9-volt trains? Bring back 9-volt trains. I mean, like, there's a Rolodex of questions that just always get asked.
Wait, sorry to interject for 1 second, but
sure.
I don't understand the 9-volt train thing. I'm not really like a train guy. What's the difference between that and the newer ones and stuff like that?
Well, obviously there's a difference in the functionality. One of them you plug into the wall with an adapter, and you have a controller that you can regulate the speed of how you want it, and the rails themselves have metal on them.
Yeah.
And then the power functions is battery operated with a remote control with only 3 speeds.
So that the old one had more speeds.
It did, but I mean, it really comes down. The whole point that it's a thing is because you have Lego fans that have spent a very long period of time collecting a wealth of this system, and this system is no longer in production. So it's like, I've spent $5,000 collecting straight rails, and you've got rid of it. So the thing is that when you continuously run stuff like a Lego train, eventually the motors are going to wear down and they're going to stop working. That's just how it is. And so if you discontinue a thing that somebody has invested thousands and thousands of dollars into, you're making it harder and more expensive for them to replace elements that are breaking down in that system that they've invested in.
I see.
And so they get mad about it, and they go, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. That's just,
okay, because I thought it was a nostalgia thing, but I didn't know there's actually different functionality.
Well, there probably is a nostalgia thing in there, but it's more for the process of it's costing them money to upkeep this old system that they've invested a lot of time into already.
And Power Functions came out, I think, 2006, right, for City?
I think so. And I mean, now there's a new system too, right? Like, it just...
Yeah, the app one or something like that?
Something like that, where it's another new system. So it's like, oh no, we're gonna start chanting, bring back Power Function. So
anyways, so yeah, return to the...
Yeah, so I'm doing the Q&A. We go through the regular questions. And then this one guy raises his hand. I go, yep, what's your question? He goes, is it true that Lego's discontinuing Ninjago next year? And I sat there and, against my better judgment, I should have just let it go. But I was like, that's weird. And I'm sitting there going in my mind, recounting today's activities. And I go, I told that other guy, and that guy has run to tell other people.
Did you start sweating bullets?
I got a little nervous, but I wasn't terribly nervous. I was like, okay. And so I said, well, all right, fine, we're going to run with this. And I said, well, yeah. And I told the crowd basically what I told the guy. I said, yes, the Lego product theme follows a typical Lego Big Bang formula. It has a 3-year lifespan. We're in year 2 right now. So next year would be year 3, and it is planning to end. Mm-hmm. This is not anything rare. This is how Lego does things. But as you can imagine, the crowd was very perturbed by this information. And I didn't have, as much foresight as I did in later years to know, oh my goodness, I've started a thing. And I didn't realize that. I really didn't. I just was answering questions truthfully and honestly. And the thing is that Lego absolutely planned to end Ninjago the next year. That's the only reason why I said it, that it was planned to be 3 years from the beginning. If you go back and look at a lot of some of the information that Lego has released, they can show you that, yes, it was planned to be 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, 2013 was literally called the final battle.
It was
with
planned,
6 sets.
it was planned to be done, and anybody who's an ambassador for Lego in the Lego Ambassador Network, I think Justin, you are, right? I think.
Yeah.
Part of the perks of being an ambassador is you get a copy of the Lego Group's quarterly magazine called Lego Life, not to be confused with the Lego Life app and all that stuff. But it's an employee-only magazine that has articles. And if you were an ambassador back in 2013 or whatever, there was a whole like 6-page article about ending Ninjago, and
really?
how.
Oh my gosh! Somebody needs to scan that. I gotta see that.
and I think Justin, if you go into the LAN, I think there's an old topic where they've put digital versions of all the old, but not to give you homework.
I'm going on right now.
But there's an article, and I believe the title of the article was "How to Properly Sunset a Popular Lego Theme" or something like that. And I mean, they were already telling all of us employees, yes, this theme is going away. And again, no big deal. Okay, great. So
wait, one thing. When did they send this out? Because I didn't get mine yet.
It comes out every quarter. I think it's like 4 times a year.
Oh God, I missed like freaking 2 quarters already. What the heck? They gotta send it to me.
Time to go in. So, okay. So I have now apparently started a storm that I was not aware of. I went on stage. I did my thing. It's a group of fans. There's probably 30 or 40 fans in the room. As far as I know, there wasn't any like major fan media in the room. This is just AFOLs, and they're just there. But of course, Kevin has announced the end of Ninjago. That's not what I thought I did.
That's the headline, though.
Apparently, what I did, and oh my goodness, it snowballed out of control. Like, then people started doing posts on like media. The Brick Show did a whole thing saying Kevin Hinkle has announced the end of Ninja. I'm like, whoa, hold on, and like it just started snowballing. People started calling customer service, and they're saying I've gotten like people started butchering my title. They said, I heard from your Lego product designer in Portland that Ninjago's. I'm like, I was never a designer. People were sharing it on like forums, saying Lego executive announces the end of it. I'm like, what is going on? And it got out of control. There was people that even went into the Lego store and were asking the staff, like different Lego stores, asking the staff, like, what are you guys going to do? Ninjago's coming to an end. My son's very upset, or my daughter's very upset. And they're like, what are you talking about? Because, of course, the company hadn't, like, externally announced that the theme was made. This is the truth. It was. But they hadn't. And Lego doesn't typically announce things like that because people go a little crazy. Whether that's, people want to buy all the stuff now before it's gone, or just it causes disruption. So they don't usually do that. But I started getting pulled into meetings at the office, like, Kevin, what have you done? And I was like, what have I done? I've done my job. I went and I answered questions. I didn't know that this was like super sensitive information you didn't want people to know, but I was just answering a question. And it caused a lot of problems. There was a lot of stores that were getting questions. And I mean, the consumer services department was getting hundreds of phone calls about this, because all of a sudden people like, not to throw them under the bus, but like Brick Show would post it online, and they've got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And so these kids are watching this, and now they're going, oh no, Lego's saying it's gone. And so they start bombarding the Lego group with petitions to save it. And
oh my gosh.
all this kind of stuff. But so here's the silver lining to this. That theme was absolutely planned to go away. If you want to say accidentally, announced to the world that it was going to go away a year before it was planned to go away, due to the response that Lego got, which was unprecedented, on how much contacts they got in the stores, online, in emails, chat, from people that were like, save it, you can't let it go. I mean, it was absolutely insane. So much so that they pulled a total reverse course and decided to keep it going. And it was last minute. I mean, a lot of those things, if you look at, like with the Rebooted, it's called Rebooted because they brought it back from death. I mean, that's the reason.
Yeah, it's literally yeah.
The pieces of the puzzle are there. And so, they scrambled the team together to bring it back and create some more sets and keep it going. And of course, after that little transitional phase, I mean, it was just back. I mean, that was just normal process. They were working. And Ninjago to this day has been altered to an evergreen theme. Ninjago is totally evergreen. It will be on the shelves for as long as it will be. I mean, years and years and years and years. But so I inadvertently killed and saved Lego Ninjago in one fell swoop.
That's amazing. That's crazy. No, that's such a cool story, dude.
Kevin, here's a question for you that you may not know the answer to, but say they did stop making Ninjago at that time. Do you have any idea what they would have used those resources to make as an alternative?
So there is a team of designers that aren't necessarily assigned to a specific theme. They're assigned to Big Bang. So that team will just keep migrating to the next big bang. So you'll have a team of designers that work on Ninjago, and then they switch over to Chima, and then they switch over to Nexo and so there's already a system in place to kind of have this nomadic group of designers that will never be married to a theme like City or Star Wars.
So did we miss out on like an epic theme? Because
I thought Chima was supposed to take its place.
Yeah, Chima by the books was supposed to be kind of the successor. So did it remove a really cool theme? I wouldn't necessarily say that. It might have altered a timeline, where pushed it a year later, maybe push something a year earlier. Okay. But when there's really good themes that perform well, like in focus testing and stuff, Lego won't usually just slash it and it'll be gone forever. They might delay it by a year or a couple years, but I wouldn't say we lost something because of that. But it's a good question, though.
So all you did was alter the timeline of Lego for all eternity.
All I did was pull a Yesterday's Enterprise and alter the time.
You created a movie. Think about that.
Well, yeah.
You should have been in the credits for that movie.
Yeah.
I like the way you think. I like the way you think.
So you didn't get in trouble for it, really?
Well,
you were just saying something in general, like, yes, it runs for 3 years on average, and we're on year 2, so there you go.
Yeah, it's, did I get in trouble? Kinda. I mean, people were bothered that I said a thing, and it caused a thing. And so I did get pulled into meetings. I wasn't given, like, a formal reprimand or anything like that, but it ruffled a lot of feathers. People were like, why did you do this? I'm like, well, I didn't think it was a thing. I will say from that point on, I never commented on when Lego themes would end at all. I'm like, no, I don't know. It's here now, and who knows when it's gone. Because I was so afraid to cause another issue. Because it did cause disruption for a lot of people I work with. They were all frazzled and didn't know how to answer and stuff like that. But I think in the end, it did help because it showed the company earlier than they would have found out later. Yes, people are affected if you get rid of this thing. So you should consider getting rid of this thing, because if I hadn't done that, it still would have just ended, and then people would have still been upset. They got a year ahead of time to figure it out. It would have
been too late.
There would have been a whole year of nothing on the shelf, which could be, you could lose a lot of fans, children fans of the series. Even just 1 year, they could drop off. Right. Well, there's I don't want. I'm not going to bother with it. So alter the timeline.
I want to know one thing, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but like at that time, how up to date were you with like, Lego stuff in terms of like future products? Like, did they keep you updated with everything?
Yeah. So on average, I would usually have about 2.5 to 3 years advance knowledge.
That is so far.
Now the thing about that though is that the next year's portfolio was usually pretty solid. Like, that's what's going to happen, and that's what it's going to look like. Right. As you got further out from that, it was more like sketches, concepts, just maybe sometimes just a name. Like, oh, I know there's a theme coming out, and it's called this. So the information beyond that year gets fuzzier and fuzzier and fuzzier. So, and then as you move through, it gets clearer as you get closer to that.
So do sets ever, like what's the... And I don't know if, again, there's some stuff you might not be able to say, but, like, what's the farthest you've seen a set get along and then get canceled per se? Like, did it make it to production? Did they make 10,000 of them and then change their mind? Or, like, has something like that ever happened during your time there?
Yeah, I think probably a good example would be the Lego board games, if you remember that theme. Yeah. So there was a couple games that were already made, and then they slashed it. So like there was like a Phineas and Ferb game, mm-hmm. and some of those pieces are like you can find them out in the wild. Like
I remember they put the instructions on accidentally.
Yeah, I mean those were done. Like it was done, made, and then poof, they just vanished, and no one ever saw them, and they were never sold. And
had they produced them, or were they like just completed designs ready to be produced?
No, they were made. They were ready to go.
Do you think they're in the vault?
Are they buried in the desert?
They might be.
Do you have the treasure map is the real question. So why wouldn't they just sell them anyway? If you're gonna, I don't know what they, just say they burn them. Like I just feel like they don't, like there's no benefit to doing that as opposed to just throwing them on store shelves and selling them for $20 each.
And that, my friend, is where you and I would agree.
Well, hey,
that's an odd one.
Okay, so like, was it when you started becoming the community position, that's when they how would you find out about this stuff? Like, would they just tell you? Like, I just don't I don't get that.
Sure. So that was by far my favorite part of the job. And not just to say I'm greedy and I want to know, because that's not it, but because
everyone wants to know. That's the best part.
Sure, everyone wants to know.
Yeah.
But the best part about being in the community team at that time is fans are everywhere. Fans are fans of your product, whether they're fans of your video game or they're fans of your products or your merchandising, or they're online, offline, they're in this country. I mean, Lego fans are everywhere. And the community team, if you're responsible for speaking with, engaging with, and managing this relationship, you kind of have to be everywhere too. And that's just to do your job right. So because of where we were, we had a lot of kind of unprecedented access to the company that a lot of other people didn't have. So because I work with fans, I would be able to walk through the product marketing and development area of Billund and see like what they're designing, what are they working on.
Wow.
Because they would also want input. They would say, hey,
really?
The fans. So for example, I remember one time looking at a specific set. I won't mention it now just to keep everyone thinking, but it's already it's long come out. But there was a certain set and it had cow catchers, the things on the front of the train to like push cows out of the way, like old school trains, like steam trains. Yeah. It was a mech and it had black cow catchers on the shoulders. And I was talking to a designer and he said, well, we had a Toy Story train with red cow catchers, but the fans that like to build trains were critical. And they said, well, you can't use there's no such thing as a red cow catcher. Like it needs to be black so we can use it. So I'm thinking of putting a black one in the set. Do you think the fans will appreciate that? And I mean, these are conversations I would have. And so I have to see some of these concept models and sketch models to kind of be able to give a educated input into that. So, I mean, I would see that stuff. Obviously, there's also just digital access. So, Lego employees have access to an internal employee site where you can look at products that are coming out and pieces that are coming out that you would have. It's kind of like S.H.I.E.L.D. You have like different levels of clearance.
Yeah, I think there was some like somebody was leaking those because they had that stamp on it, not the regular preliminary stamp, but it had the name of that.
Yep.
And I was like,
you can tell.
Wow, I wonder who did that. Like that was crazy.
You have to send me an example, Justin. I'm curious what the difference is there. I don't know if you have one or like, but I've never seen that or noticed.
There was also that. There was just digital access to the site. Lots of meetings. So sometimes I wouldn't, physically be given confidential information. I would just be in a meeting and the person would come to the meeting with it, show it to me, want my input. What do the fans think of this? What do the fans think of that? Do you have any advice? And then they'd take it and they'd leave. And I would never have it again. It was just in that meeting setting. I think one of my favorite kind of perks that I had was seeing the full Lego movie like 4 months before anybody else saw it.
Oh, that's cool.
Because they wanted to know, our PR colleagues wanted to know, is there anything in this movie that AFLs are going to be super mad about? And I said, okay. So I had a private screening. It was just me and a PR lady in the back watching the whole Lego movie.
Was it awkward? Like, did she laugh? Like,
no, she was just typing on her computer. Like, she never even looked up. But I was watching it, and then of course when it was all done, I mean, I thought the movie was fantastic. I think everyone thinks that first movie was just incredible.
Yeah.
And she goes, so is there anything that we should be worried about? And I said, well, I wouldn't be really worried. I think everyone's going to really like this movie. I think if you have anything to worry about, you might have some fans be slightly offended that you assume all fans glue their stuff together. I think that might be a thing because Will Ferrell's this adult fan and he's craggling his stuff together. I said, most fans don't really do that. That's not a thing they do. But other than that, I think you're pretty good, and I'm actually really excited that you put a monorail in it. So that was really cool. That was a really cool.
Did you get to see Lego Ninjago early?
I didn't get to see that one, but I saw the storyboards for that, and I can tell you the story was very different. Before
I know, yeah. There's even some like deleted scenes online, and it was so different. And
I personally think with the original outline, it worked a lot better than what the final product was, but that's my opinion.
Interesting.
Sad one.
So that would be your favorite part about working for Lego, I would assume.
Well, that was a favorite memory for sure. That was a favorite memory.
So
and being in the team, I did get to do a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. I got to go to, places all over this side of the world. I went to fan events in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Santiago, Chile, Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Seattle, San Francisco, Houston, Austin, Dallas, Chicago, Raleigh. Just all over the place. And I got to go to Billund, and that's a huge perk, is going to the birthplace of Lego. And I got to meet Kel, who's the third generation owner. I got to meet him twice.
Cool.
I got to see the Lego house before it was open to the public. I got to visit the Ole's house, the house of the founder. I got to go inside. I got to see his desk, where he, like, the guy who made this whole thing, where he sat and drew his stuff. So I would say that was also a huge favorite part of my job.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
For like something like let's say the Lego Overwatch announcement, did you know that like way ahead of time?
No. So what's the crazy thing about that? I had zero knowledge about that.
Uh-huh.
So I've known about the James Bond car. I've known about Cloud City. I've known about a lot of these things that have come out this year. I knew about Voltron. I knew about all these things. That one totally caught me off guard. I was like, "What is this?"
Fake news.
And I was actually, to be honest, I really enjoyed that I didn't know about it. I was like, "Man,
that's cool.
This is what it feels like to know nothing."
Right.
I see. Oh, that's awesome. Did
So
you know
actually
that Harry
talking
Potter
about
was
this job-
coming back, or what?
Oh, hold on.
I'm sorry. There's too many things.
Yeah, I just have one question for you, and I think a lot of people are probably wondering this and probably thinking the same thing. So as you're talking about this and all the amazing things you got to do, it sounds like a dream job, and I'm sure a lot of people would love to work for Lego, especially the fans.
Sure.
Can you talk about why you don't work for Lego anymore, or is that a sensitive topic?
Well, it's kind of sensitive because it wasn't my choice. That's for sure.
Okay.
So, last December, again, for people that are kind of savvy into the news and keeping up with the Lego company, not just the products, they laid off a lot of people. Sure. So there was almost 2,000 people that were let go from their jobs across the entire company. Things from product design to marketing to all the different offices. So the old community team was totally disbanded. It was totally just kind of shredded apart, reworked, rebranded, whatever. And so one of the decisions was to no longer have community managers anymore. Mm. So there are still people that work in that department, and like, so Kim Thompson, who we mentioned earlier, he's now kind of a LAN engagement manager. I think that's his title. But it was definitely not my choice. I was very sad to have 12 years be concluded. But yeah.
Yeah, I just picture a lot of people sitting here thinking, like, why would he ever leave that job?
Yeah, no,
it sounds totally awesome. So I appreciate you answering that.
For sure. And it's, it is what it is. And I've had my moments of grief. What's funny is one of the first things I ever did, like 3 days after I was officially let go, and I was very sad, is I bought a Mega Construct set.
Oh yeah, I think I remember.
All right, guys, thanks for watching the podcast. We're gonna have to end
it. It's been great, but it was like, in my mind, I was like, I have to do this. I was like,
were you not allowed to do it before, or like what?
Or is it just sticking it to him?
Yeah.
No, it definitely wasn't a rule. It was just like, as we talked about earlier before we started, I'm a huge Nintendo fan, and I'm a big Pokemon fan, like ever since the very first games came out in 1998.
Right.
And those Mega Pokemon sets have been getting my attention, and I was too loyal to the brand. I was way too. I said I won't do it. And that first couple days, when I was just mopey, living in my pajamas at home, and I said, you know what? No. And I went to the Walmart and I bought a 6-pack of Coke and a Charizard Mega set, and just stick it to the man.
Just for the story to be better, were you in your pajamas at Walmart? Because I would really just finish off that picture there.
That fit the bill.
Yeah,
fit the bill, right? Yeah. I got dressed to go to Walmart.
That would have been perfect.
You would have fit right in there.
Exactly.
Did the firing come as a surprise, or was it something you kind of knew was coming after?
Well, see, the weird thing is that everybody was told in May of last year that people are going to lose their jobs. And so by that token, I was kind of prepared, I guess, because everybody was so stressed out. Everybody was actively looking for other places to work because no one knew what was going to happen. So I won't say that I was not surprised. Of course I was. But I had from May until December kind of getting ready to potentially lose my job. You know what I'm saying? Like I had almost a year. And in that year, I took that year. I was getting my resume ready. I was getting my cover letter ready. I was getting my ducks in a row. I was thinking like, well, what do I do? Do I move somewhere else? Because believe me, I'm not interested in staying in Connecticut long term.
Right.
So it did. Yes, it did come as a surprise, but I can't say that it was a total surprise because we were all getting ready for that.
So you got fired.
And that was caused by sales numbers going down, I'm assuming?
What's that? I'm sorry.
That was like the sale numbers were going down and you kind of saw that coming for that reason?
Well, it's because the CEO told us. So we had a year of 2% decline in profit, not just sales, just profit.
Okay.
And our CEO gave a town hall meeting with all the employees across the company in May saying, yep, people are going to go. I can't tell you how many. I can tell you it's going to be later this year, probably September. We don't know what areas. We don't know which countries. Just hang on to your butts. And it's like, okay.
So the layoffs weren't because it wasn't because sales were going down. It was just because they weren't making as much money in profit.
Exactly.
Because people have commented on the fact that maybe Lego isn't as popular. Kids are doing less actual building and maybe playing like things like Roblox more. That's not necessarily the truth then?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, obviously the landscape is changing because it just is. Kids are, they're into digital more, earlier in life. People play differently. There's constantly new toys entering the arena, but the Lego group is making more money now than they've ever made in the history of their company. Okay. The only thing that changed is their profit went down 2%. And so of course a lot of people are like, whoa, that's a knee-jerk reaction for a 2% profit, but we were all told that, well, we want to make sure we course correct now so that we don't continue this trend of going down. And again, it's at the expense of a lot of people's careers, and believe me, all the people that were let go, myself included, people that have been there 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 25 years, 40 years. I mean, not the newcomers. It's the people that have been there for a really long time.
Interesting.
Which is kind of sad, but it's also
terrible.
Layoffs 101. It's kind of like
you're making the most money, so you're the first to go.
Yeah. Thank you for your service. Goodbye.
Yeah, but do you think it was just because of the changing landscape, or was it certain products that maybe weren't selling, or licenses that weren't catching on? Like,
well, I don't know for sure. I mean, I can only speculate. Like a lot of people, I guess I could be slightly more educated in my speculation, but the company was still trying to figure out exactly what was changing. Things were changing. For example, YouTube is now like the main place that children consume media. That's now a fact.
Shocker. Is
that kids live on YouTube, and I can tell you as a father of a 5-year-old, he just lives on YouTube. It's crazy.
You make him watch Just Too Good videos, right?
Well, this kid has never played Minecraft in his life, but he can tell you everything about Minecraft because he watches people play Minecraft. It's insane. But so that was a thing that was just known and was being shared with us. The Lego group tends to be very slow to change, painfully so sometimes, where they're just so cautious that they want to do it. So I mean, they still, I don't think, have really embraced YouTube enough.
They started a few channels. They have the Lego News Show with the three of them.
Yeah.
I want to have one of the guys on the podcast at one point. And then they have this other channel like Lego FanTube that I think is it's weird. I don't know. And then they have like I mean, they've got a few things going now, but
and they definitely have stepped it up for sure. Like they've definitely stepped it up. And what's interesting about that is the whole reason, or not the whole reason, that one of the reasons that they did the whole split with the multiple channels was for legal reasons. So like they wanted to have, the designer videos where there's a product designer talking about a new set and all the features, and legally that's considered a commercial because you're selling a product.
Yeah. And
they would want that to live on the same channel as for, say, regular television commercials, like straight up copy paste from TV.
Right.
There was some weird stuff in the legalese where you can't change settings like your channel is either this or it's that, and they wanted all this content to live on the same channel, and so they were told, no, if you want to have, I can't speak to this because I wasn't there, but I remember hearing about this, is you'd have to split off and have a different channel if you wanted to have different content. So they decided to take that opportunity to split into 5 channels. So they have like the Lego Group channel, the FanTube channel, Lego just in general. Like I think there's a total of 5 different Lego owned YouTube channels. And so they definitely have stepped it up. There's still work to be done. And I also think that they've stepped up in terms of working with an older target, some of these 80s cartoons and 90s cartoons and like these properties from that era, because these are the people that are parents now and they're buying these toys. But again, I don't think they've done enough compared to some of the other competitors that are really, really diving into that arena.
They just need to pick up Nintendo,
Hey, I'll be right there behind you in line buying the first one.
Please.
One day. So the Lego era came to an end for you. So what do you do now? Like, you work conventions. I know you do, I think, Bricks in the Middle. So you do a couple different things.
I'm a professional podcaster now. So I reverted back to what I studied and what I did before Lego. So I have been an artist my whole life. I studied illustration, animation, graphic design. I was an artist before I was a Lego employee, and I'm an artist after I'm a Lego employee. So I do have my own freelance business. I do a lot of logo design. Because I'm an artist, I also started a comic series called Bricks in the Middle, because Lego fans are super fun, and I have so many stories to tell about Lego fans. So it's a comic about Lego fans for Lego fans.
Is it sad I never knew that you ran Bricks in the Middle?
Oh my God, Justin!
I know about Bricks in the Middle. I know about Kevin Hinkle. I never knew you ran.
Who did you think ran it? I guess what's his name?
Matthew.
Yeah, Matthew.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so we're partners on it. But I don't think that's sad. I think maybe that's covert marketing at play. But yeah, so we run that, and then I also have worked with, or I've been working with Brick Fair. So Brick Fair has reached out kind of in a consultation kind of capacity, like, what can we do to make our event bigger and better and continue to grow it and evolve it. And I've been happy to help. So I've been helping with different types of suggestions, such as talent acquisition. So, you were at Brick Fair Virginia. So, that was the first Brick Fair actually ever to have specifically called out special guests. So obviously there's been cool people, but they've never gone out of their way to acknowledge that there's certain people there for the event. So that was a suggestion I gave to kind of move in that direction.
Wait,
but also,
call out Ryan, did they say like M&R
no,
Productions?
Galador guy.
No, so yeah, we had the actor, and he was one of, and he actually brought a pretty good value to the event. I mean, everybody was taking pictures with him and getting autographs. He did a panel, which was recorded and shared on YouTube. You can find it. He did an hour-long panel, and when he was done, we said, if you want to come get an autograph with one of the headshots, come over. He sat at that table for 2 hours and 15 minutes doing autographs.
That's awesome.
It was insane. But so we did that, and I've also been hired by Brick Fair to do graphic design. So I redid Brick Fair's logo.
Those new logos are really cool.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All the signs.
Yeah, I did all the signs. I did the mascot. So Brick Fair has a mascot now. He's like a little floating guy with a top hat. And the program guide. They designed the program guide. So yeah, I'm involved pretty heavily with Brick Fair. So you can almost guarantee I will be at any Brick Fair from now on.
Lego
all right,
Galador.
Well, if I do a panel at Brick Fair, I want to hit you up. Okay.
You will be a special guest.
You won't see Justin. Justin won't come to an event. I asked him too many times. He's saying no.
I told you, man, if we need to help you with your insect head with like a mist bottle or something, I will be there. And if we need to throw a towel on you and escort you out of the building,
Oh
when
my
you're done,
God.
Oh my God.
all the way.
All right. We'll see. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that Galador guy was really cool. I mean, I only talked to him for like 30 seconds, but like just for him to show up for something that is like, I don't want to call it a meme in the community, but like it's something that's not very highly thought of. Lego Galador,
Yeah.
but it's also
definitely infamous.
Yeah, it's also something I didn't really know much about, and like I'm glad to have learned more about it. Like you spent a few minutes with me at the table, like explaining like what the rarest one ever was, and like how there was this bicycle that was never released, but like 5 people have it or something.
Yep.
So that was, I don't know, that's just something really fascinating about that whole line.
Wait, I kind of want to hear about that. About
the
this
bicycle.
one that was released. Yeah.
Should we go into it? I don't know. What's our timing situation?
I mean, it's pouring rain outside, so I don't think I'm going anywhere.
So Galador. Galador was a television show, and it was a product line, and it was developed by the Lego Group for the products, and then the TV show was developed in cooperation with Fox Kids, and the product line was very short-lived. So there was only maybe 15 or 16 sets ever released. But there was a couple that were limited releases. So there was a guy called Aquart, who's like an orange guy. And then there's one called Tagger, who looked kind of like a hammerhead shark kind of looking guy. And they were limited releases, so they're really hard to find and actually expensive.
Really?
Compared to the others. So the other ones, I was telling Ryan at Brick Fair, I got the whole collection that I could get sealed for about $115.
I was like flabbergasted by that because you had like a ton of them too. I'm like, man, I may as well go get these.
and what you saw was almost the entire thing except for like 2 sets.
Yeah, you bummed me out when you said there were 2 more in there.
Yeah, there's 2 more, and those are the hard ones to see. Like that Tagger guy I mentioned that looks like a shark, he's like $100 usually by himself. And so, but yeah, there was those 2, and then there was one more. There's probably a couple more, but there's one more infamous one, which is a motorcycle, and it's a motorcycle that also looks like a shark. I don't know what the fascination.
I see it right now. I think it's called Makar or something.
Yeah, and that was never officially released. So there was some prototypes made up, which are basically the same quality as the final toy, but no packaging. And somehow they have found their ways out into the wild.
How would somehow be?
So people have it?
People have it.
Someone
One guy
had it in Virginia.
bought it to Brick Fair.
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
and Matthew Ewald, who's the actor who was at Brick Fair, he also says that he has one of those too. So he's got, as part of being on the show, he has one of all the sets. But so they're out there, but they are crazy expensive for a hybrid motorcycle shark. So
wait, what was the? Oh, sorry to interrupt.
I just want to know if you have any idea how a prototype would just get out there.
Well, it could be something like a product sample sent to somebody. Okay. Like, hey, we're gonna send you the product sample. Can you make us packaging for it, or can you make us, it could be anything. It could be like shirts with that on it. There's a lot of business reasons why Lego would send product samples early to a third party. This is just me speculating. So it could be maybe that 1 or 2 were sent to like Fox, and maybe some guy at Fox has had it sitting in a closet for 2 years or 3 years or 20 years, and he goes, well, I guess I don't need this anymore. I'll sell it online. It could be a Lego employee maybe had it, maybe someone who was involved somehow with it, and they've kept it in a stash. I mean, I've had prototype minifigures in my possession once upon a time. I really didn't think they were that cool, so I ended up giving them to friends because they thought it was cooler than I did.
Speaking of prototype minifigures, are the red Star Wars like prototype minifigures that you see on? Are those real? I just gotta know. Those are real.
Real.
Okay, now I'm into them.
So here's.
You didn't think they were real?
I didn't know. Anyone could just create the mold like Lepin and just make another one in red. I didn't know.
Well, I was gonna say actually, Kevin, I remember on eBay you were selling like a whole bunch of like cool stuff like when you were laid off. I bought one from you. I don't know if you know that.
Now you have Justin's address. Quick, figure it out.
Was it addressed to you? Was it your name?
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember that.
It was I think it was a poly bag. One of the poly. It wasn't anything like super rare, but it was just a poly bag that was like a hard to find one, like a professional minifigure. Yeah.
Well, thank you for helping feed my children. I appreciate that.
I was trying to get the little those specific like employee badges and stuff like that, but those listings went to like 200, 300, and I was like,
wait, the Kevin Hinkle minifigure employee badge?
Well, you had some other ones I thought, like, and some different ones for different like events.
Oh, Do you mean like the lanyard?
Stuff like that. Yeah. So I don't really remember. Yeah.
Yeah. There's I can say one of the other things that has kind of changed my perspective post Lego life is I still really like this hobby. Like, don't get me wrong. I like the hobby. I like the products. I really like the community. I think I'm more of a fan of the community than I am the products, but I'm not as obsessed, I guess, if you want to say, over the stuff as I used to be. Like, I used to be just like the best of us. Like, don't touch my special minifigure and don't ever take that Mr. Gold out of the packaging. And, being outside of that career, it definitely, I was a little pressed for money. And so I've changed my perspective a lot on those things. Like I said, I'm still a fan, and I've got tons of this stuff in my basement, and I love it. But I'm not as like super obsessive over. Like, I remember when David Hall was over, and he's like, "Can I touch your Mr. Gold?" And I was like, "All right, go ahead, take it out, touch it, do whatever you want with it."
Touch it.
Yeah, mine is still in the packaging. So
see, and that up until last December, mine was still in the packaging too. Like, I had never taken it out of the. I was like, "Nope, I can't touch this," and it's changed. But before I forget, just so you know, earlier you had mentioned the red stuff.
Yeah.
The red. Interesting fact about that is that Lego will always produce every Lego element in red first to test to see where the weak points are in a mold, or if there's any like cracks or creases, because red is the color, like when there's misalignments or whatever, it'll show up as white on the red part. So it's the easiest for them to spot errors in the mold. So there will always be a red version of everything, and it just wow. Some of them make it out into the wild, but there will always be a red version.
So now that
Interesting.
now I know this is legit, this is a big problem.
Yeah, I always thought that they produced the red stuff because like red was the cheapest to produce or something, but that makes so much more sense.
It costs 1/10 of a cent less. Just
yeah,
I don't know about that one.
It's really fascinating, and I remember the first time I learned about that, I was having a tour of the factory, one of my first tours, and there was this just pallet, like those giant like Gaylord cardboard boxes that are the size of a pallet. It was one of those filled to the brim with red Lego elements in every shape, every color, every size, or not every color, every size of minifigs, animals. It was just filled with them, and I was like, "What is this?" And that was when they educated me on why they will do a run in red of every part, so they can spot the white cracks or the white creases, or because they said that color is the easiest for them to spot errors in the mold.
That's really cool. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I was gonna ask, still with the Galador stuff. Can you repeat the ones that were really rare? Because like, my friend grew up on Galador.
Nice.
One of my best friends. He grew up on Galador, and he has like all the sets.
Not many people can say that.
He should have been at a Brick Fair. He could have met the actor.
It was interesting because like him and his dad used to watch the show all the time. Like they loved it. Yeah, but which ones were?
So, Aquart.
Aquart.
It's like Aquart, I believe. He's an orange guy.
Yeah. Okay, I just found him cool.
And then Tagger, Tager.
Tagger.
He's like a weird hammerhead-looking shark guy with a laser arm.
Tagger. Yeah, I see.
So those two did come out, but they were limited releases. And then the motorcycle, which you saw earlier, is the one that never officially was released.
Yeah. Does that even have the set number, or the motorcycle?
I think there's an old like promo retailer catalog image somewhere that has the set number, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
Yeah, because I don't even. Yeah, Brickset doesn't even have it, which is interesting. But yeah, I mean these. When you say limited release, were they like Toys R Us exclusives or something?
I think they had to have been an exclusive with some retailer, but I don't know. And I think actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think Brickset has the motorcycle. It's spelled two different ways, which it makes it a problem because once upon a time somebody spelled it wrong, and now it's also known as that. Yeah, so 8322 Macar, Makarr.
Let me see.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. That, okay. Yeah.
And there will be HD pictures of this soon, I've heard.
Yeah.
Someone,
And then
someone was watching one of my vlogs, and they like saw it on the white background, and then they like put it on Twitter, a screenshot from my video, and they're like, "This exists somewhere. Where is it?"
Yeah. And there was also somebody at Brick Fair that made a cast of the parts. I guess they're going to try to maybe 3D print more or something.
Oh my!
To bring this motorcycle to the community.
Yeah.
Just send one off to Leppin.
For like unreleased, canceled sets that are publicly known and stuff like that, have you seen any other ones, like the wrestling scene from Spider-Man? Like, have you seen a physical copy of that?
Huh. That's a good question. There's not too many that come to mind. Like I said, I remember seeing those board games at one point, but I can't really think of too many others that.
Did you ever get to play them?
The ones that were not released?
Yeah. Oh, any of
No.
them? Were they any good?
No, I actually really enjoyed a couple of them. Like Minotaurus. Minotaurus, I think, is one of...
Yeah.
Mini-Taurus.
Mini-Taurus.
I think that's one of the most fun games. And then Creationary is just Pictionary with Lego bricks. That's pretty fun. A lot of the other ones are kind of not as fun to me, but those two in particular I really like. Those are a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, all I ever got was the Ramses pyramid, I think it was.
Well, that's kind of a shame.
Yeah, it was kind of too complex. I want Monster 4 just because they had good like face prints and stuff.
Oh, that one did have some good pieces in it.
Yeah.
So do we want to cover some Lego news?
Oh man, this stuff is so interesting.
I actually think it's gonna be fun with Kevin, because like, especially with Cloud City. So Cloud City obviously is a thing. We've known about it for like 8 months, and you've probably known about it for longer. But they finally revealed it the other day, and I know Greg's not interested in it at all. I don't know if Justin's interested in it, but purely from like on the inside, like from the first time you find out about something like this, or like let's say the first time you see it, like how many changes does it go through, or like how often do like the minifigures in a given set change? Like how much back and forth kind of play on like any individual Lego set can there be during the process? Sure. Or I mean maybe you don't not quite in tune with that, but I'm just that would be kind of something curious to know more about.
Well, yeah, things can switch so many times between concept and final product on the shelf. They can switch over and over again based on lots of different input. From it could be a stability issue, like maybe they build a set in a certain way, and then I would see that like on a designer's desk and say, oh, this is the next set coming out. But then somebody would say, oh, we found out that it's not stable here, here, and here, and here, so you need to rebuild it and change it this way. It could be focus group testing. So like it goes to like a focus test and kids say, I don't understand what that thing is. Is that supposed to be a computer console or a toilet? Right, and if they get feedback like that, they got to change it again because the kids are not understanding what the thing is that they're trying to accomplish. It could also be a market request. So, the markets, which would be like Lego US, that's a market. Lego Canada, that's a market. Lego Mexico, that's a market. They have a lot of say into these products coming into their markets. So they say, well, the Canadian children won't understand this because of this, or kids in China won't get this because of that. And so they have to take into consideration all these inputs from the markets. So sometimes that could be, this shape is offensive in this culture because of this. And so they have to redesign it and change it. A lot of times that will affect words more than it'll affect physical things. Right. Like maybe a word is offensive in a different language.
Justin, do you remember the Space Police set where he was like Al Capone or something, and then they changed it to not be Al Capone?
I didn't know they even changed it.
It wasn't Al Capone. It was like
it was what, the Lunar Limo?
Yeah. Are you talking about the Brick Daddy?
Yes, Brick. That was it. Yes.
Yeah, wait, I didn't know they changed it. I just remember Brick Daddy.
Brick Daddy's where it's at.
It was like different in different countries, I think.
Really? Oh, that's kind of interesting.
I'll try to get you guys
the other thing for minifigures will change a lot too. So a lot of times when I would see an early set, there might just be blank minifigures, like just they're all white or they're all black or whatever. Right. Or it could be stickers, because like the graphic designers have the ability to just do a quick print of the actual designs, but they'll just be stickers and they'll just slap them on whatever. Or like if it's a custom molded head, the head will be 3D printed. So those can change. I mean, things can change so many times between when I would see them. and when they would actually be for sale. But it's hard to say the reasons why and all that kind of stuff.
May I ask, what was the biggest change you saw for like a minifigure or anything included in a set?
A minifigure. I can't really remember any drastic changes for a minifigure.
Fair.
I will say one thing that I remember being a pretty drastic change was one of the architecture sets, the Las Vegas one.
Oh yeah.
And then, of course, the tragedy happened. And they said, well, we got to completely remove an entire building in this set. And the set was done. Like, it was already done. It was ready to go. It was rolling. There was marketing material. There was instructions. And that was a pretty drastic change from when I saw it to what's for sale now.
I wonder
if
go ahead.
I think we're both wondering the same
You're
thing.
both
like,
wondering.
If anybody has that version of
I don't
like,
wonder that, actually.
Okay. Because they changed the set number and everything. Like,
yeah,
there must be prototypes out there and stuff.
There's probably somewhere in some arc of a covenant somewhere.
But what were you going to ask, Ryan?
Oh, I was wondering, like, if, let's say the set had been out for the set had been out for 6 months and then the terrible tragedy happens, like, do they just pull it from shelves? Like,
Yep. Yeah, so that's happened a couple times before when I worked in retail.
Okay.
So for example, the NBA sets from like early 2000s, we had those for sale in the store when I worked there in 2005. So we still had the NBA sets. The contract went up for like renegotiation, and we had a memo to immediately pull any NBA licensed product off the shelf. So like all those got put in the back, and then we had to like caution tape it off so that people wouldn't touch them. And then we just wait for direction. So it'd be like, what do you do with it? Do you sell it? Do you not sell it? There's actually been a decent number of sets over the years that have been, for various reasons, they've been told to pull them. Like all Lego stores, remove this set from the shelf. There's a issue. We're investigating it. Stand by.
Huh.
I've never heard of one of those coming back to say, destroy all the sets. We need to redo it. Usually it's a couple weeks go by and they say, all's good. More testing was done. We're okay. Put it back on the shelf. But because, I mean, of course, if it was a problem, it could be a recall issue.
Yeah.
But there's been no recall issues since that red truck back in whatever.
The Brickbuster, right?
Yeah.
The only reason I know that is because Brickstar did a video on it not too long ago. So I just learned about that one.
Yeah, that was the last recall. But there has been a handful of sets over the years where they've said, pull it, there might be an issue, and then a couple weeks go by, false alarm, everything's good, put it back on the shelf.
Well, there was like that Ant-Man set with the legs and stuff.
Yeah, that was an example of something that everyone was told, pull it off the shelf, and then .com will say out of stock, and we need to figure it out, and then all of a sudden magically it's all back again.
So those came back because I thought they changed the pieces in there.
No, because they ended up doing like it's like a fix kit, I guess you could call it. Mm-hmm. Like if you called customer service and said I'm having an issue, they produced a little pack that you could just get. Mm-hmm. They did that with WALL-E, if you remember WALL-E.
Yeah, WALL-E did Back to the Future Time Machine with the misspelling.
Where it's not bad enough to not sell it or to recall it, but they have a solution ready to go, so that if someone calls, they can ship you free of charge this like fix kit for it.
I never take advantage of those, because like I never fix my WALL-E, I never fix my Ant-Man, I never fix Back to the Future.
You don't fix anything. You're like Wreck-It Ralph. You're not. Do it.
No, but I was going to say, with the NBA one, so was the contract renegotiated or did they just get rid of them?
No, it was done. That's actually that one was a example, one of very few, where the contract was not renegotiated, was not re-signed. So we were told to destroy the NBA sets. So we had like the, street basketball game. There was a couple hockey ones too, I think, like street hockey, and we had to destroy them. Which back then meant you rip open the box, you rip open all the pre-packs, and then you pour all the pieces into a bin. You throw away the box, you throw away the instructions, you throw away the stickers, and then you would repackage all the parts into what we called a grab bag. So you'd have
that's interesting.
And people loved, especially the community loved the grab bags.
Those were so good, and then they got rid of them. It's like people would find prototypes and stuff and future pieces in there.
Well, that happened, but yeah, you would have a super, like, I don't know, like what, maybe a quart size bag, that was usually stuffed pretty well for $8. And so it was a good deal. It was a really good deal.
Yeah. So, wow. So they even included the minifigures for the NBA players in those grab bags?
Apparently that was okay because the only NBA logos were either on the box or on the instructions or on the stickers. And so if you got rid of all those, because this was like a lot of the sets didn't have the actual players in it.
Yeah.
They just had like those generic basketball players. The players were either as a keychain or as like those little single sets. You could get the one player in like a card. So it was okay because there was no NBA logos or anything on the stuff that was repackaged.
So like when the license ends did that happen with any other teams where the license ended and you just got to stop selling it? Because I always thought like even if a license ends, you could still sell it for a few more years or something, like the sets that are already on the shelves.
No, if it's done, it's done.
Really?
But I don't think there's been really any other circumstances where there's still product on shelves when the license ends. I can't recall any.
Because like I would think of like Ninja Turtles. I remember for Ninja Turtles they had 2014 sets.
Yeah.
And then I think in 2015 Mega Bloks did sets, or maybe it was 2016, and that probably gave enough time.
No, that Turtle license is a fun ping pong one right there because it was like Mega, then Lego, then Mega, and it's just like goes back and forth.
Yeah. Oh man, that stuff is interesting.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2020 confirmed.
There it
I
is.
do have a new show coming.
There you go.
Sorry to derail the news section of your.
Oh, it's all right. This is fascinating.
Much
talk.
interesting.
Yeah.
I love it.
We can cover some Lego news and wrap the show. I'm sure there's much more Kevin Hinkle to get into, but we do.
I would be happy to join later if you still want me.
Anyway, we should cover a little news. I'm sure some of the fans care a little bit about what everyone has to think. So, Cloud City got revealed. Oh wait, okay, Justin, you're just leaving that.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Cloud City got revealed. As I said before, I don't think Greg gives a lick about it.
Yeah, it's probably an unpopular opinion, but I feel like it's a little expensive for what it is.
I would agree with you there. Kevin, do you know why the Cloud car is not orange?
I do not know. No.
That's
a very specific question.
Me. Well, because the Cloud car is supposed to be orange. The one they made in like 2002 is red. You would think they could get it right this time, but they didn't. Maybe they don't produce some of the parts in the orange color.
It's a very specific. That orange is pretty rare. I remember the only times I've seen that orange in Lego recently was with the Bart Simpson from Lego Minifigures Series 2.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the best
and
explanation for why it's
just a really rare color. Yeah.
I mean, I think it looks fine in red, but I just saw a few people complaining about it, and I'm like, maybe there's a reason. But
call your people up, Kevin.
I know, right? See if I can still get those connections working.
But like the Cloud City itself, I like it a lot, but I wish there was an easier way to display it because I'm going to have to get a table for it if I do get it.
It is honestly a really odd shape. Like I'll give it that. Like it's like you took a circle and then you like have quarter circles that are like opposite of each other, and then like you cut out the other slices of the pie and then you put odd shapes. I don't know. It's like it is an odd shape, but
yeah,
I'll definitely get it day one. It'll be fun and I'll enjoy it.
It's definitely a fun play set, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure Clark would play with it for hours if he like had the connection to the movie, but
and it'd be destroyed within like 20 minutes.
Destroyed.
Yeah,
that's a good point. It would.
The one thing I do really like about it, I think it's kind of a clever little thing, is the like micro scale Cloud City top, like hidden on the top of the display. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's something
nice
I've seen
detail.
a few mocks that people have made. So I'm trying to think. I don't know. I swear I've seen something like that before. Maybe it's just on the mocks I've seen. I can't think of another set that does something like that.
What else is there? Lego Star Wars 2019 names.
Oh, those ones. We have junior sets, so Clark gonna get real big into Star Wars, and I'm sure
it's finally happening. Huh?
Kevin will buy some for his son.
Start him early.
Oh yes.
I've been holding in my pee, so you take over for like a minute. All right?
Okay, I got it. Oh, I don't want to go too much on Star Wars rumors. I covered that too much. We can talk about. You guys don't do Overwatch, do you? Greg and Kevin.
No.
Yeah, not my thing either. So apparently there's going to be Lego Overwatch That's a thing.
Are people still playing Overwatch, or is that a thing in the past?
I mean, it's a pretty popular game. I saw it on ESPN 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't
thought
think it
maybe
did
it
well
moved
on
forward.
ESPN. No, but it was on ESPN, so you give it some credit there. Bricktober sets coming out. You guys do you do Bricktober, Kevin and Greg?
I love them. I haven't heard the news though. Where are they selling them at?
Oh, so the Harry Potter one, at the very least, will be at Barnes and Noble, but the rest of them are unknown right now.
Okay.
But there will be more.
Yeah, I saw the
information
packs.
later.
I didn't know where they were selling them though.
Yeah, so Barnes and Noble, and then the other ones will be hopefully around at some point. Just they didn't say where yet. So
Okay.
Yeah,
I like the Avengers one the best, I think.
I like the Iron Man suit in there. I thought that was pretty cool. And then what's the one with like the dual molded legs? I forgot his name.
All right, what I miss?
I think it's
archer
War
guy?
Machine is the person is the Iron Man one.
Oh my
Yeah, War
gosh,
Machine
you guys
is
need
not-
Marvel help. All right. Bricktober, what? Bricktober Marvel, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
you know where they're being sold at? That's the one that I'm interested in.
I have no clue except Barnes and Nobles
Yeah.
for
Okay.
Harry Potter. But which one do you need help with? Which?
What's the name of the guy with dual molded legs in the Infinity War one?
Oh, the one to the right, right?
Yeah.
People are triggered right now.
because
I
there's
should
just
show
two of them
pictures
with
of these
them.
on the screen.
Yeah, the one to the far right is Bucky, the Winter Soldier, in his white wolf outfit, I believe it's called.
nice.
And yeah, there's the second to the left also has dual molded legs, and that's Wong. One of the best characters in here because we've never gotten him as a Lego minifigure, and he's kind of a key character, so it's nice to get him. But yeah.
Really? Was he not in the Sanctorum set?
Surprisingly, no. It was so lame. Like, that Sanctum Sanctorum set, I like it a lot, but like it was missing a lot of stuff. Like, it didn't feel like it had enough minifigures in general.
Because I would feel like if he was going to be in a set, he would be in that set.
Yeah, exactly. They really skimped out on like this. I keep saying this, but the Marvel sets have just been like the minifigures are so low detail, and actually, do you think there's a reason behind that where something like Star Wars gets a big, like they get all these different minifigures, all these different sets? Something like Marvel superheroes would get less sets, less minifigures in the sets, less detail for the minifigures in the sets.
Well, I can say that every Lego theme does have its own team of designers. It has its own team of marketing people, and it has its own budget.
That's
So,
probably-
it's kind of the reason why, like, Creator historically won't be able to have new elements, like new element shapes and new element colors. Creator Expert is different. It's a different team. But, like, Creator, they can't get that kind of stuff, so they have to kind of barter with, like, the Ninjago team.
Hey, what if you throw this one in there?
And I mean,
That's
that's
funny.
seriously what they do. And they'll say, hey, if you put that in your set and you use some of your budget for a new whatever, a new shape, a new color, I can use it in my set. And I don't have to pay the money for it. And so the same thing would also apply to minifigs, where there's a cost involved in everything. So sometimes you just don't have the budget for it, and sometimes you do. Star Wars, usually you always do. You always have the budget, so you go all the way.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. I wonder how they keep track of like if they're going over budget on a set and stuff like that. Like, man, there's a lunch.
I think when people compare, I don't know, this is kind of off topic, but when people compare Lego to Lepin and they're like, look how much cheaper Lepin is, Lego's ripping you off, they don't consider how much goes into actually making a Lego set versus Lepin just gets it in their hands and literally just copies it. Like, there is so much more to it than just the plastic in the set that I think people don't see or understand.
Yeah, for sure.
And plus, it's
It's like Lego has to pay you. Lepin, there's no Lepin Kevin Hinkle.
Well,
Or
there might
they did
be.
pay you,
There's
I
an
should say.
evil one somewhere that's got like the Vulcan Spock evil goatee and everything.
It exists.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's a lot
I
more
missed
there.
everybody's discussion on the Bricktober ones. Which ones are you guys looking forward for?
I like
Like,
the
what's the
Avengers one.
one-
But I know you weren't loving the Jurassic World one. I saw your video on that.
I was, because it was just like, first off, they only have 3 exclusive figures. The fourth, okay, it ticks me off. The fourth Dino is a reprint of one that's so common.
It's an
They
apology.
could've at
It's
least-
all about that drumstick, man.
I
I would love
yeah,
if they
the
just thrown that
exclusive
in as like a
drumstick.
fifth.
Yeah, like they could have done a new color for the baby dino. I would have been fine with that, like a tan one or something. That would have been cool.
Right.
And then they choose Claire and Owen again, which I get Owen, he's like the main character, but both of those have boring reprints. The only cool thing about I like Owen's face print because it's a new Chris Pratt face, which is always useful. It perplexes me.
Which ones are you buying, Justin?
All of them.
All of them. Okay. Even with your complaints, you're still getting that though.
Yeah, of course. That's me. That's just too good a nutshell. I complain.
My favorite part about any of these Bricktober packs is in the Ninjago one, the guy with the baseball bat. That's the one thing I have to have out of any of these.
Freaking cool. Yeah, I know not a lot of people point that out, but yeah, that is such a cool recolor. Like, not even the Simpsons series did a recolor for the baseball bat. Like, come on.
It's like an aluminum baseball bat. It doesn't get better than that.
I'm personally looking to get that Jeff Goldblum because I want to do the meme where he's laying there on the.
Which one is Jeff Goldblum?
Yes. In Jurassic World,
Yep.
far left.
Okay.
Because there's that picture, that's always used of him laying on his, he's leaning back and his shirt's all open. It's gotta be done.
It's almost like this one's a variant. Like, maybe they plan to have Jeff Goldblum in another set or something. But he's just thrown in here. It's not even the one from Jurassic World 2 where he's older. But I'm not complaining because he's the best figure in that pack.
It's so funny.
But yeah, so those are pretty good. I like them. What else we got?
Creator Wind Turbine returns. Do you get this? Okay, so I'm a little shaky on my knowledge of this. How available was it? Because it says limited release. Was it a store exclusive? Was this something you found at your store for $10, Kevin?
So the original Vestas it's actually a really interesting story. So Vestas is a company that makes these giant wind turbines that generates powers, and it's pretty well known. The owner of Vestas and the owner of Lego had a conversation one day, and they said, "Hey, I'd like to get my employees something nice for Christmas. Can you design a special set for my employees?" And so Lego said, "Okay." So they designed a exclusive set, the Vestas wind turbine, specifically and only for the employees of Vestas. So it was never sold. It was never given to anybody in Lego. Only the employees of Vestas, which was every employee in the world for Vestas, got that set as a Christmas gift. Now, yes, it's cool. If you're a Lego fan, that's awesome. That's really neat. Not everybody's a Lego fan that works at a wind turbine company.
Right.
And this, as far as I know, I haven't confirmed this, but this was in lieu of a payout bonus that they would have gotten for Christmas. So obviously a lot of those did end up on eBay. They still to this day.
I don't know what the payout bonus would have been, but I think this seems like it is worth more than that. If you sell it now, I don't know what it was worth then, but
it was kind of a big controversial thing when it came out because, of course, the Lego fan community was like, "Where do I get that wind turbine?" And it was like, well, the wind turbine's only for Vestas employees.
You can buy this small city one now.
Meanwhile, the people that work there are like, "I want my money," and they got a Lego set.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember I put that on my Christmas list one year. But, yeah.
Mom, where is it?
What's it sell for these days?
And see, Justin, your mom came into the Lego store and said, "My son wants this Vestas wind turbine set." And Kevin, working at the store, goes, "I'm sorry, ma'am, that set's not of it." She goes, "Why are you doing this to my son? It's Christmas." And I'm like, "Oh, here we go."
Kevin says, "I'm going to corporate."
Did anyone ever come in looking for that one?
Yeah,
of course, absolutely. Everyone came in looking for everything.
What's the that's a good. Said that
it goes for now for like 600 to 1,000. By the way.
Wow.
That's new, right? I saw them used for less than that. That's why I said 400 to 500 used.
Yeah. Yep.
So what are the oddest things people would come in and ask for? Kind of an on the spot question, but.
Well, people would come in the store thinking that you could commission a Lego sculpture. So oh, you're a Lego store, and so you guys are clearly Lego experts. So I'd like you to build a statue of my mother, or I want you to build a replica of our museum, or they would come in expecting us to be able to do commissions of sculptures. That would happen all the time. We'd also get phone calls all the time about it. Usually businesses like a non-for-profit or they'd say, "Oh, can you build us our corporate office that we have in downtown Denver?" No, I sell Lego sets.
Build it yourself. There's the pick-up wall.
And believe it or not, we would actually get quite a few people would get angry because we would sell the DK books, the Lego DK books in the store. and it'd be like, Lego sets through all of time. And a little kid would be reading this book in the store, and he'd see a Forest Man set from, in the 90s. And he'd say, I want this set. And then we would tell the kid and the mom, I'm sorry, that set was discontinued 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And they would get really mad at us going, well, why are you advertising it in your store? It's like, we're not. We're selling you a book that has historical information in it.
Then you get the mom that comes in and says, my son's looking for the set with the vehicle in it. Can you get that one for me?
You want to know how many times that really did happen?
I imagine quite a bit.
My favorite was anything with Bionicle. They'd be like, yes, my grandson wants the green guy. Like, okay.
I can see that one. That one works so well.
Well, did you guys talk about the Overwatch stuff?
I mean, none of us really play or know anything about it.
I don't really play.
It hasn't been announced during the 2 hours we've been recording, has it?
I know. No, I was just gonna say, great new hair pieces there. That's all I got.
Okay. We can cover these last couple things and finally wrap up here.
Okay.
It's been a good one. So new Diagon Alley. That's like is that going to be someone commented on my video just and they said it might be like a store exclusive or like a promo rather.
Yeah, the picture leaked. Did you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the picture leaked. Oh, duh. Sorry, I half asleep. When people send me stuff in the morning, I forget most of it.
In the morning, I don't know.
Anyways,
about
but yeah,
that
the new Diagon Alley set.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, well, to me, 2 p.m. is the morning. That's when I wake up. That's when I literally
the life
wake
of
up.
a YouTuber right there.
That's the dream.
When people send me stuff in the morning, Jesus,
Go
dude.
wake up at 2, go sleep at 5 a.m. Anyways, but the new Diagon Alley set. It looks like, to me, you know how they released like the mini London bus, the mini Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah.
Yep.
As like little promos. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I like the printed face of the Weasley at the shop, and then I like the exclusive Ollivander, but I do not care about miniature builds, so it's not really for me.
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah. Oh well, it looks like it's time for another Just 2 rant.
Oh boy.
Just 2 rant.
The Just 2 rant. Yeah, every episode I've been beginning to do the Just 2 rants. All right. So, okay.
What's the
ready?
topic this week?
Gosh darn Burger King. If you ever go to Burger King, you would notice that Burger King service is so bad, okay? Yes, I'm stereotyping all Burger Kings, I'm sorry. But every time I've gone to Burger King the last 2 years, they've messed up my order, they've been rude to me, because I don't think they care. And this is something that I just want to fix with Burger King. If you go to McDonald's, I always get everything right. You know, they got all the employees that are nice. They all care about what my order has. But then when I go to Burger King, it seems like none of that is evident. So I feel like with Burger King upper management, can you please just hire the company morale? You know,
hello,
sort of like
Burger
what Kevin
King
was
upper
talking
management
about.
watching
They need a
this
Kevin
video
Hinkle
right
in
now.
there.
There it
They
is.
do.
Exactly. They need a Kevin Hinkle as a manager for these places, because I don't think the manager cares, and because the manager doesn't care, the employees don't care, and it's like
It starts at
Burger
the top.
King's- Yeah, exactly. Hey, and then the Burger King nearby just closed recently. I'm not surprised. No other fast food places closed near here, but they're going out of business in a lot of places because I don't even think anybody has ever hyped for Burger King. Do any of you guys like Burger
Hyped
King?
for Burger King. I like their French toast in the morning at 2 p.m.
Okay, that stuff is so good. If I ate more sugar recently, I would be eating that. But oh my gosh, those are so good, the French toast sticks. But anyways, yeah. But anyways, but my point is Burger King, fix up your higher management because your quality is always bad. Your service is always bad when I go there. We need to reboot the brand of Burger King.
I don't think we'll be getting a Burger King sponsorship after that one.
I know. Red Lobster.
Oh yeah, we got to finish out with the Red Lobster sponsorship here. So, Red Lobster, come for the lobster, stay for the French dressing.
See
Nice.
food differently. Yeah.
Thank you guys for
got rid of. And I will say one more thing about Burger King though.
Oh
If
boy.
you see, they know their quality is lower. Literally, look up this commercial of Burger King. They have a commercial when they did an Egg McMuffin, and they literally show the king breaking into Ronald McDonald's McDonald's headquarters to steal the recipe for the Egg McMuffin. that just puts the image of your brand being lesser quality than McDonald's like right away. Like they know it. They know it. And they're like, but it's cheaper.
But you know what? I remember Burger King had some of the most funny commercials I ever remember watching, like when like early King days when he had a giant mustache.
Yeah, it was so
hilarious.
He is so creepy.
It was yeah, that was the whole
so
point. Like,
funny. It was so funny.
Remember the video games?
It gives
they
me
had for
nightmares.
Burger King?
I went through drive-through just to buy all 3 of the video games.
Dude, same here. Oh my gosh. I hope.
What was that? Like Sneak King was one of them.
Yeah, Sneak King. Nobody ever forgets Sneak King. The Sneak King.
Pocket Bikes.
I don't remember.
And when they had the whatever Star Wars movie was out at that time, they had the Star Wars commercials where like the stormtrooper was working in Burger King and he'd blast the oven to turn it on.
Yeah.
Like, these commercials ever.
I know. Burger King's pretty great, but wait. I mean, Burger King. Fix your upper management. Okay,
Sad.
that's my just rant of the week.
I'm sorry. I was trying to adjust
Very
the rant
disappointed.
into a positive end.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of positive ends.
All right, our
the mock of the
final
week.
bit for the week. We got the mock
This
of the
is it.
week. So if you, Kevin and Greg, do you guys have the link there?
Yep.
Yeah.
I put it on Skype, and it's also on the thing. All right, so the mock of the week it's on Brick Vibes channel, but it's by his friend Robert, who like works with him or something like that, and it is what they call the Danwood Castle. It's a medieval castle, and it's got tons of scenery around it. It's an incredible build, one of the best castles I've ever seen. I'm not showing it on screen. That would help. So here you go. Anyway, it is a massive castle. Just it's one of the coolest things that I've seen built out of Lego, and there are a lot of cool things. But I particularly love the detail around the castle with all the grass and the trees with the different colored trees. I think he uses alt bricks there. Good question for Kevin in a second, actually. And then just obviously the castle itself is beautiful with all those brick pieces. So
This is what Harry Potter fans wanted.
yeah, yeah. I don't get that. Like, we need a full-scale Hogwarts. Yeah, we're $2,000. Like, what's the?
Yeah.
Just like, no, it doesn't work.
We didn't want a full-scale Hogwarts. We wanted another part of Hogwarts released as a direct-to-consumer set.
Sure, we did.
I was just saying that.
Sure we did.
I want to check it out, but my Wi-Fi here is so bad. It's just I'm trying to look at the picture of it in the video, and
All right.
it looks cool though. I can see the top. Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
Any thoughts
Whoa.
on it, Greg and Kevin?
Just incredible. I mean, I can't. I'm not listening to the video, so I don't know what kind of time went into this, but it's amazing.
Yeah, and they're working on more. They're gonna make another.
I mean,
one.
I don't even know where you
I
can
love
put more
the-
into it.
The different colors of the branches of the trees and like the
Yeah.
treetops look so beautiful too. Oh my gosh, I love scenery and like I said.
So I was gonna ask Kevin.
Yep.
I mentioned alt bricks there, and obviously that's like a third-party production.
Sure.
And I don't know, like everything else, maybe you don't know the answer, but like, what does Lego think about third-party things like Clone Army Customs, alt bricks, etc.? Like those types of companies that create their own compatible products, but aren't obviously on like they aren't Lepin where they're making stuff to maybe compete with Lego, as
Sure.
opposed to making stuff that's actually compatible with the brand that adds to the experience. I would say.
Yeah. So it's a really good question, and I can safely say that was another one of those kind of Rolodex questions that I would get every single time I would do a Q&A. You would just fill in something different, like what does Lego think of Brick Arms? What does Lego think of Brick Mania?
Just
What
like
does Lego think
general.
of Brick Link? And so, but the answer is the same for all of them, which is as long as the Lego group's copyrights are not being violated, they really don't care. So as long as Alt Bricks or Brickmania or Citizen Brick or Clone Army don't position themselves to cause what the Lego company calls consumer confusion, which is make someone think that they are purchasing a Lego product, then they are okay with it. So that's why they're so adamant that you don't use Lego logos, that you use like a disclaimer that says this is not a Lego product, as many times as you can on the site, on the packaging and all that stuff. As long as that's like within, within a respectable approach, they're totally fine with it. The alt bricks thing though is actually very interesting, because when alt bricks first launched, which was Steve Borelli, who's a member of the community, lives in Portland or Seattle, one of the two. He launched his alt bricks with the different color leaves, and the company flipped out because they thought that he had infringed on a patent of the leaf element. because it was the exact same element. It was just making the same element in a different color. And so people were ready to like grab the pitchforks and the torches. But after legal went into the archives and search, the patent expired on that leaf element. So like they were ready to like attack, and they were like, wait, hold on. He has every legal right. We lost the patent of that brick shape years ago.
How long prior, do you know?
I think it's 10 years. I think is the length of time for a patent on a brick or a shape. And so
did he know that?
I don't know. I
just
got lucky.
But I mean, it was really cool. And you know, when I saw them, I bought a bag of them because I thought they were really cool, and I took them back to the office to share. But yeah, normally there's no problems as long as there's not, like I said, they just don't want to they want to make sure people are not causing consumer confusion. That is the only thing they care about, is as long as people know they're not buying a Lego product, they don't really care what they're doing.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to stop.
Wait. I have one more question, kind of in relation to that. Did you ever see times where Lego did sue for like an infringed copyright of like a piece or stuff like that?
Within the community? No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. There has definitely been occasions where legal has reached out.
The Lepin would be great for a second Kevin Hinkle episode. The Lepin episode.
You want the Lepin, Kevin?
Yes. I'll change the little logo on your figure too.
Nice.
That'll be it.
Yeah, I have never heard of such a thing happening within the community. I know that legal has sent emails. They've kind of sent slaps on the wrist to people saying, don't do that, or don't do that, or please change this, or please change that. Sometimes it's directly from the Lego legal department. Sometimes it's a third-party legal entity working on behalf of the Lego legal department. I know that they use that a lot on YouTube. They'll use like a third-party legal entity. And sometimes it's actually in the past have been the community team, because they say, well, you know them better than we do, and we don't want to seem as like aggressive. So if you could just kindly ask them to not do that. And so sometimes they would be kind of courteous and ask us to step in. So I mean, I've had lots of experience over the years where I've kindly asked people to change their name. So for example, I went on a podcast in 2012 called A Look at Lego, and I said, can you please change your name? And they're now called Beyond the Brick. That was a thing that happened.
Wow.
And that was something that, you know, they weren't comfortable with, but they said, well, we're not going to send in the helicopters. Can you please just tell them to change that? But I've never heard of it being a drastic like lawsuit. It's just, please stop that. Please stop that. Emails, you know, and never in person. I don't think I've ever seen something in person where like a lawyer has gone to a fan event and like shut down a booth. Like, I've never seen that happen.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, there you go.
Interesting. Maybe one day we'll get to see it happen.
The helicopters bust in and everyone shut down just too good.
Oh, I got a good story. Maybe you know this. We'll talk about it after. But I think that's all we have. It's all we have for today. It's been the longest Bricks and Bits episode ever. I speak for hopefully everyone here. We've really enjoyed having you, Kevin. It's been an amazing couple hours talking about.
Thank you for the invitation. I
everything. So, where can people find you? What's your Twitter handle, your Instagram, your Snapchat,
sure.
Of course.
All the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
My MySpace page.
Need to know.
Yeah. Mr. Kevin Hinkle is my handle across all social media platforms.
Wow, good branding.
That's like I had a foresight there into what I should do.
Problem for me is my name's too long to put on everything, so I have to change it. But you won that one. Very nice. Yeah. All right, Mr. Kevin Hinkle. You can find him anywhere. Thank you to our sponsors, the Awaken Builder and BFAB. You can find them linked below.
Yeah.
Any last words, Greg, Justin, Kevin?
Yeah.
No, thanks everyone, and thanks.
No, I'm good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Goodbye, everybody.